Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the waterfowl den. Uh, we got a good conversation, I hope, today. We're going to learn all kind of neat information from a guy named Clay. But before we get into that, I got a new T-shirt on the website. It's got the podcast on there. So if you're watching this on YouTube, follow me on any place you stream podcasts. It's still the RD Reynolds Outdoors. Click that follow button on pretty much anywhere that you stream podcasts. So today I like to mention two new sponsors for the show that is new, and I'm going to pull that up on the screen here. So let's get that pulled up. So I would like to bring this up, Michael Knight for Shatura Investors. Today's episode is brought to you by Shatura out of Charlotte, North Carolina. They are trying to help business owners and working professionals like myself and you who share a passion for outdoors and trying to get the shooting sports zeroed in on their long-term financial goals. So if you need some kind of investments, check them out. And when I switch back to my regular screen here, if you notice on the screen, if you watched my last video, you would notice that I partnered up with Kicks Chokes, and I got a great video that I already recorded yesterday that should be coming out probably Saturday morning. But it's a whole series on buck, double aught buck, and chokes, and I was already shocked by the El Cheapo shells. I got all kind of shells that we're going to be shooting, starting with the El Cheapos up to some really good double aught buck, but very impressive already. So that's it. So I think that's pretty much everything about me. So let's introduce Clay. So Clay, introduce yourself. So who are you? Where are you from? And we'll get into other topics, but who are you?
Yeah, so my name's Clay Turpin. I'm from Northwest Indiana. I've been hunting ducks since I could just about walk, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I like to hunt ducks and basically do anything duck related. So,
well, we can see that there's a few behind you there, and that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite bird to hunt?
Well, oh man, that's a tough question because there's a lot, but probably my favorite one so far would definitely be king eiders. There's probably nothing that will beat that I can at least think of, because like just a trip to get out there, you got to go out in the middle of the Bering Sea. There's crazy weather, hard birds. They're nice and hardy. They're tough to put down. It's just a fun thing to do. Something I don't think I'll ever be able to replicate. So
we'll get to this conversation, but you're on a mission to get all the species.
Yes, sir.
And out of all them species, how many more you got left?
Oh man. So I got quite a few, honestly. Most of I got pretty much all the geese. So that's the real thing that's kind of getting me, because I'm not a big goose hunter, so I've never really shot snow geese or specks or anything like that. So
right, there's what, four geese in the
no, there's Canada,
the northern,
Brant, speck, Brant, and Ross.
Yeah, the Ross, that's right.
And
snow. The Swan don't fall into that category. I don't
know.
Yeah. So I wish I brought my piece of paper that had them all on there. I am nowhere on that. I probably got like 10 of them off that list.
Yeah. I'll say most of them that I've shot, I actually shot in Indiana. The last year, I kind of took a few trips like that to kind of target some of the more special species. But I mean, most of mine came from Indiana. We can get a pretty wide range of birds here. So, yeah.
So, talk about the history first before we talk about your last year's adventure that probably I know I'm jealous of. But before we get there, let's talk about some history. What what did background? I know you and your father's got some kind of pond, or y'all raising ducks, or what y'all got going on?
Oh yeah. So ever since probably since my dad was little, I don't know what age, but him and his mom used to raise quail, and so they do quail, and he kind of got into the whole duck thing. So he had an aviary pretty much his whole life, just all kinds of different ducks and geese and birds and pheasants, quail, all of that. So he's kind of just something that it's something he got into, and growing up we always had birds like that. So I got to kind of take part in raising the ducks and seeing the different types of ducks and doing all that. So him, my brother, like we kind of just all were lucky enough to do something like that.
So how does he feel about seeing them raised versus hunting them, or it doesn't? He understands the hunting
Yeah.
the side of it.
Oh, well, he's a big duck hunter
Real.
probably since he was little, just like I was. So it's there's a big difference. I mean, um, people always ask that question, but there's a difference. Just like my dog, he has no problem with our birds that we raise at the house. He doesn't mess with them or anything. But once we get out in the field, it's just go time. So um, I don't know. It's kind of a tough thing to explain, but it's not really a problem.
Have y'all picked up any traits or anything that you learned from having all them ducks and stuff around the
Oh,
house that you utilize when hunting?
oh yeah. So one of the benefits, and I try and help people who are new into hunting. We get to hear the birds just in person, right? So you hear all the calls that they do, how they act, whatever. And whenever I have a friend who's just getting to hunting, whatever, I tell them just come over and listen to the birds. It helps to hear like what real live birds sound like. So
And it's nothing like that competition calling stuff.
no, not at all. It's pretty awesome. Like I said, I get to hear teal, gadwall, shovelers. Like even shovelers make noises that you don't. I've at least in real life never heard them while I was out hunting. But just hearing the birds in person, and it's real funny. Like so, sometimes we get home and we still got our camo stuff on. We'll walk out back, and you can see how the birds kind of freak out. Like they don't necessarily like the camo, so it's something that's kind of weird that you never would think of. But
That's pretty cool that you could listen to a shoveler, because that would be something I've never. I mean, you see a couple shovelers fly in where we are, but I mean they ain't gonna land and hang around. So I mean
yeah,
that's pretty cool. So y'all raising them? I mean, where do you get
yeah.
shoveler eggs from? I mean, are
Um,
y'all buying
this
the eggs?
Yeah, so this year we actually hatched some for the first time ever, which was really cool because none of us have ever seen baby shovelers, and their bills have come out this big. Like it's really fun. But
like they probably couldn't even hold their head up.
yeah, it's funny because we had it was shoveler babies and teal babies mixed in, and you could definitely tell which ones were the shoveler just by looking at the bill. So it was pretty funny. But
did y'all put any of them pictures on like Instagram or anything? Because
I don't think so. I just had some picture I took of them like a week ago because they're
that would be really cool to see. Because I mean, that's not something you could see out in the wild. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people that's probably wanted, seen it. But I mean, what is the chance of you just kayaking along and then be like baby shovelers right there?
Yeah, my dad's been raising birds and hunting birds for like 50 years, and he's never seen a baby shoveler. So it was just really cool that we were able to hatch some. But back to your question, usually there's some animal sales a couple hours away from us, or bird sales, and there's also groups on Facebook that people will post birds for sale or eggs or whatever, and you can kind of get started that way.
So are they in like a pond or like a man-made pond? Like,
we had it dug probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago. We had a little pond dug, and then we just put a fence around it. We have a couple different pens back there.
They don't fly out, or y'all clip them, or they just pretty much know that they're farm raised? And
the ones in the pond, the wings are clipped.
I got you.
But the other ones, Well, and there's some like they'll hatch in the pond. We can't catch them, so they end up growing up and flying away because we can't catch them, clip the wings. But we've actually had we've had a couple mandarins the last couple of years that mysteriously disappear, fly away, and then we end up seeing them like on the news and stuff. People are talking about mandarin sightings like a couple hours from here. I'm like, well, I'm like 99% sure that was ours because you're not going to see a wild mandarin anywhere in this area. So
Probably not.
kind of funny.
You have to keep clipping them wings too, though, every year, right?
Well, it depends. So you can actually cut off like the last joint in their wings, and they won't grow back. But if you don't do it when they're babies, then you just have to clip the wings every year, just the feathers.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's what I thought. I had some. I was raising some ducks, and about 4 neighborhoods over, some dogs got out and took out my ducks. And I tell you what, boy, for the people that raise ducks, whoo,
yeah,
them some nasty birds.
Oh yeah.
I just got them just big enough that they could go from the house to the pond. And I was so happy where I didn't have to keep filling up that kiddie pool anymore. I'm like, I mean, they were just almost to the age that they were just learning to fly. I wasn't going to clip their wings because we got dogs and coyotes and stuff. And I was hoping that they would stay. They were just mallards. I was hoping that they would just stay. And if they flew away, whatever. But they were just enough to jump off the ground, start, and then back down, and them dogs got them. Didn't even eat them. Just thought it was a chew toy and on to the next one. It made me so mad. But it's just circle of life, man. That's all it is.
Yeah, that kind of thing happens. So this year we had a lot of black ducks laying on nests, black ducks and barnacle geese, and some possums got in there and destroyed the nest. We lost quite a bit of eggs this year.
Man. Are y'all trying to trap them to prevent that, or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We pretty much got traps set year round, just trying to eliminate the pests because they'll get in there and they'll just destroy the nest like it's nothing. I think we had what was it, barnacles, black ducks, and cacklers. All the nest got destroyed this year. So
that's terrible.
That's a lot of money lost too.
I can imagine. I don't even know what eggs would cost for ducks, but I mean, even when you think chickens, I mean, chickens ain't easy to raise either.
Yeah. Oh, we got too many chickens over here. They kind of run free, so we have just nests all over the barn we don't know anything about, and all of a sudden there's 10 more babies. There's 10 more. Like there's not like it's nothing. They're just constantly laying on it.
Does them farm raised ducks, do they have the initiative to lay on them, or do they kind of like, like you were talking chickens, they'll drop an egg and just keep on going. They're not broody. They could care less about the eggs. Does some of them farm raised ducks, do they have the urge to, try to actually have babies?
Yeah. I think it kind of depends from duck to duck because like some of them we have they'll lay and they'll sit long past it, and even if the eggs are bad, they'll just keep sitting trying to hatch them. But other ones, they'll just drop the eggs and don't even want anything to do with it. So it kind of just depends. But a lot of them do like to sit on them and hatch them, and sometimes we'll grab the eggs right away, and other times we'll just let the birds sit on them and hatch them, and then we grab them when they're babies. But yeah, it kind of just depends.
That's pretty cool. Y'all probably need to start banning your own ducks out there.
Yeah. So funny thing, my dad used to do that. I don't know, probably 20 some years ago. So he used to ban a bunch of ducks and let them go like that. And then like 10 years after the last ones he did, we were sitting there by the pond and a pair of mallards came, landed in the pond, and we went and grabbed them, and they had his bands on them from like 10 years before then.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy they came back after that long. That they even survive that long was crazy. But
I know that's a who knows. You never know. I mean, some of them ducks people shoot with bands that got the trackers and how far they travel, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane. Like my dad, he shot a banded pintail once up in North Dakota on opening day, and they banded it like 2 weeks prior up in like way north in Canada, and it was made it down in like a week to North Dakota. I think he made like a little map that showed it like how far it traveled in a few days, but it was something just crazy. Like, in that short of time, it's awesome.
I like to hear when they talking about when they're coming up from Mexico and they off the coast of California and they hit them winds just right and they travel at like double the speed, but it wears them out. I mean, it really burns through their energy too, though. But
Yeah.
it's crazy how they know how to use the wind to pick up speed.
Yeah.
You know, they're smart animals,
Yeah, it's
especially
crazy.
the ones that are the old like that.
Yeah.
So, who's doing all the mounts behind you? Was
That's
that something your daddy used to do, and then you picking it up, or?
Yeah, so back in like the 80s, he was, this is a story he told me where he just kept shooting these birds, and you get those birds where the head is just like real nice and colored out, looks amazing, but you shot the body up or whatever. So he just started mounting the heads, try and salvage it and do something with them, since you have such a pretty bird but a like shot up body. So he started doing that, and then he kind of stopped. In the last like 2 years or so, he thought of the idea again, and he's like, "Oh, I'll show you how to do it." So he taught me how to do a couple, and then I kind of just ran with it and started doing just about every bird I could get my hands on.
Which one's your favorite up there? That looks like a king otter up there, ain't it?
Yeah. So I got
That wouldn't be one of them that you want to practice with and actually mess up on.
yeah. So that one right there, that's probably one of the ones I've done recently. But yeah,
Man,
that's
that bird's huge.
yeah. Yeah, I got quite a few on here. I don't know, probably my favorite one. That's kind of tough. I mean, I'm really inclined to say king eider just because that's probably my favorite duck at the moment. But the harlequin was pretty fun.
Which state was that out of? Because pretty much everywhere you look at now, they all say no season for them, no season for them.
Yeah. That one was up in Alaska. I shot both those in Alaska.
So since we keep bringing up Alaska, let's talk about your 22-23 season and the road trip and I mean, I heard it, and didn't you take your girl or fiance or girlfriend with you?
Yeah, she went on one of the trips with me.
Okay, so she didn't tag along for the whole trip.
No, she's currently in school right now, so she can't miss all that. But yeah, she came for one of them down in went to Georgia and Florida end of December. She came with, but pretty much the rest of it, other than one of the two of the trips, I was solo.
That's just crazy. So let's start with what made you decide to do this journey that you went on last year?
Well, it wasn't really planned. It kind of all fell into my lap. I was sitting there. We usually do pretty much every year we go to Texas because I have a buddy that lives down there, and we've been going the past couple of years to shoot big ducks, but he always was talking about, oh, you got to come down during teal season. It gets insane down here because everyone knows about Texas teal. So kind of just decided, let's try that out this year. So decided to do that. And then the other one, North Dakota, we go there every year. My dad's been going since before like late 90s. So that's a trip we do every year. But then I went to Alaska. I was sitting there one day at work, and I was just going through the duck post or whatever, and I saw someone had an opening in Whittier, and I was like, man, this would be really cool. And it was a pretty good deal. So I just kind of started working through the numbers, seeing if I could get off work, do all that. And everything kind of worked out pretty nice. So that one was like, I probably scheduled that one a month before the trip. And they all kind of happened that way. I just would see something and be like, man, I'm interested in this, and kind of just talk to them, put everything together. I mean, I ever since I was little, I've always wanted to shoot all the species. So
how many states did you cover last year?
Oh man, okay. So obviously I was in Indiana. We went to Texas, North Dakota, Michigan, Georgia, Florida, Alaska, Maryland. So 8
Whew.
that I can
I
think
hate to know. I hate to know how much licenses was.
of.
Which
But
state had the highest that cost you the most to hunt? Not trip wise, but like license wise.
yeah. I don't know. I have to go back and look because they're all relative, pretty much the same. Most
About
places,
$100.
yeah, most places offer like they'll do like a 5-day license or a 1-week license, that kind of thing.
Right.
I know
But
Alaska was.
they still add a little bit extra to it for them out of state people though.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
like in state $20, out of state $50. Like what? But I mean, I don't blame them.
Oh,
There's nobody really wanting to come to South Carolina to duck hunt.
yeah, they
Maybe
got to find. You guys are pretty close to North Carolina, though. I want to come out there and do one of those sink box hunts. So that
yeah,
looks.
in the Outer Banks.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I'll send you a guy that we hunted with last year. He runs them curtain blinds.
Yeah.
I think they call them curtain blinds, but sink blinds. It's just crazy, man. Buffalo heads, like, I mean, I ain't never seen so many buffalo heads.
Really.
Like we shot our limit, and then the next day was like, I just don't really even want to shoot any. I mean, it's just, I mean, they were like the ducks at the cemetery. You go throw crackers out there, and they just keep coming. I mean, that's basically what they were. I mean, it was
Okay.
unbelievable. But I mean, beautiful. I mean, just the way them little buffalo heads, some people call them butterball turkeys. I mean, just the way they fly and land. I mean, it was just a show, just watch them. But yeah, he in the Outer Banks is my favorite beach that I've ever been to, and but where Okiko and Hatteras comes together, there's a ferry, and them sink boxes are right there at it. I mean, it was the craziest thing ever. We didn't hunt the curtain blinds just because it's extra to hunt them, and we were trying to go after some brant, but they wasn't where we were at. But I mean, the water is so clear, knee deep. I mean, you could just walk as far as you want to walk. And then you see the ferry just going along, the cars, the people on the ferries, dolphins swimming by, buffalo heads. I mean, it is something to take in. I mean, that is definitely ought to be on people's list. But if you do come to the Outer Banks, always try to. Have you shot a swan yet?
No.
All right, so North Carolina's got a swan permit, which I'm pretty sure is going now. I think they usually pick around October, but it usually takes about 2 to 3 years to get on it. But
yeah,
outside of the Outer Banks, I got a guy. Hopefully, we're gonna have on the show soon before the season start. Poor Boy Outfitters. They have an incredible setup. I mean, it is right beside this field where they love the land, and I'm telling you, I've never seen so many birds before. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you see them snows coming in, and the snows turn upside down, and they're doing this. I mean, you talking about a swan that's got like 6 foot wingspan coming in. You can hear them. I mean, literally, you can hear them flapping their wings, and them jokers just turning upside down. It's like, whoa there, big boy, you about to break a wing or something. I mean, it is the craziest thing you'll ever see. But yeah, maybe time it when you can come to the Outer Banks and shoot swan too. But I mean, the Outer Banks is awesome, which is still about an 8-hour ride for me. But
that's awesome.
Outer Banks is beautiful. I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, will it compared to Alaska? I can't promise you that one now. So, what was the trip like to Alaska? Did you fly and then take a car, or?
I actually went on 2 trips there. So
really?
Yeah. They were both very last minute. But the first trip I went to Whittier, which is about an hour and a half south of Anchorage. So what I did is I flew into Anchorage straight from Chicago. I had a rental car, and then I drove down. You drive down the Seward Highway, it's a really awesome drive. Like you're just right along the Prince William Sound. You're just driving along for like an hour and a half, and so you get down there, and then you have to go through this tunnel. It's the longest tunnel in the world that you can drive. It shares with with cars and trains. So there's like scheduled times that you can go through it and all this stuff. It's really cool actually. But
That sounds cool. I ain't never even heard of a tunnel in Alaska.
yeah, it goes right through the mountains. So Whittier actually used to be like a military base because it's right in the middle of the mountains. And like I said, the only way you can get to it is by boat or through that tunnel. And they get some crazy weather in that town. Like the one day I was there, it was 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Good gracious.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. But
So
yes.
how much, not to cut you off, but how much time did you give yourself from leaving Chicago flying and the day that you were hunting Alaska? I mean, how much wiggle room did you give yourself?
About a day. So whenever I fly out, I always leave the earliest flight in the morning. I just like to get out, early enough. And so I left at like probably 5-6 in the morning, but my flight was about 8 hours. I landed, got my car, truck, whatever, and went shopping, all that stuff. And then I got to my hotel probably like 8 o'clock at night.
You didn't have no trouble carrying your shotgun or whatever through?
No, they're actually pretty lenient with that. All you got, as long as you have your gun in a locked case, and then you have to declare it when you go up to the counter. And they just kind of go through, check everything, make sure everything's good. It's not hard.
But you took shells with you, or did you get them up there?
So you're allowed to take 2 boxes of shells per bag. So I had like I took 2 boxes with me, and then I just bought a couple because there's a Bass Pro or Cabela's up there. So I went and bought a couple boxes up there.
Since we're talking shells, what's your favorite shell?
Right now, I'm stuck on Apex.
Apex?
Really like, they got like the kind of extended range. I never had a problem with, but I usually...
Is that all TSS?
No, it's steel.
They do a lot of TSS too, though.
Yeah,
I hear good things about their turkey loads.
Yeah, so my whole life I've just shot the cheapest shells I could find, like Winchester Super X or Federal Premiums, whatever. Anything that was the cheapest shells I could find. But I mean, now that they raise the prices of everything, it's like an extra $20 to get something a little higher end. So I'm like, well, there's no point in shooting the cheap stuff because it ain't cheap anymore.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm really stuck on these Apex, especially they came out with an ad where they showed how they were putting they had the ashes of someone's dog and they made a special box of shells for them. And after I saw the ad, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. Like just some real, they're veterans. So like just really awesome. So I got a couple cases of them sitting down here actually.
What shots you usually shoot?
So early in the season, I use 4s, and then probably mid-November I switched to 2s. I shoot ducks and geese with both. Like opening weekend, we'll shoot a bunch of geese with 4s, and no problem. Like I know everyone has their opinions, and 3.5-inch shells or 3-inch, and it just I don't know. I feel like if you got your shot placement right,
yeah. I done quit shooting 3.5. Since I went to pattern, 2 3/4 pattern the best, and if you need a little bit more that 3-inch, I don't care to shoot 3.5 no more. It's just it kicks so hard, and then the gun raises so hard on that second shell, it just is really not worth it, and they don't pattern good.
No, in my opinion, it's a waste of money. My dad always said his favorite shell to shoot was number 2 3/4 ounce and a quarter shells, and they were always the best. Now they're getting hard to find now though, but 3-inch is always easy.
Well, heck, he was probably shooting back in the day when he was doing the taxidermy lead. I don't know nothing about that. I wasn't hunting when that was. But we'll continue on your Alaska trip there. So you made it down. I still can't believe 80-mile-per-hour winds. That's crazy. That sounds like my trip to the Outer Banks, where it's 75 degrees and January the 1st, we're hunting in t-shirts, and then the next day it goes to 20 something degrees. I'm like, it makes no sense. That's how my weather hunting goes.
Yeah, we have that here. But yeah, so I got there, and like I said, 80-mile-an-hour winds. Couldn't get out on the boat, so we didn't hunt the first
I bet you're not.
Yeah. So I went all that way. I was up there by myself, and I talked to the guide. I'm like, well, is there any place I could just do like a walk-in hunt? Like, I was like, I don't care. I'll go sit on the bank. I don't even care if I shoot anything. I came all this way. I want to go see some birds. So he dropped me a couple pins. Like, yeah, if you go down this road and you got to climb down this mountain or whatever, and you'll have a chance to shoot some ducks. So that next morning, well, it was crazy because the time change there is 4 hours from where I'm at. And sunrise is until like 10 o'clock.
Right, because the whole time is the sun and moon's totally different. That was going to be one of my next questions. Was like, what time did the sun come up and what time did the birds actually start flying?
Yeah. So it was weird because I would wake up like I was still on my time, so I wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning their time, and I sit there like, man, what do I do? It's pitch black. I have to wait till like 10 o'clock for shooting time. So it was this crazy adjustment. But so yeah, I kind of went to his pin, sat out there. So he gave me a couple decoys I could use. He's really awesome, like, of him to do that, because I was out in the middle of Alaska, flew there, didn't have any gear or anything. So I went out there, set out a couple of decoys, and had some birds come in. So that was pretty cool. To go all the way up to Alaska by myself and go freelance some ducks. But yeah, it was fun. Obviously.
So did you shoot the king there during that part, or was that a second trip?
The second trip. The first trip was. Oh, sorry. Was it?
What'd you get on the first trip?
So when I was there, we shot barrows, goldeneye, harlequin. We shot some black scoters, and I think that some other guys shot a couple buffleheads or something. But
I mean, none of that's not terrible to shoot by any means.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. Trust, like there's no better place to hunt than Alaska, in my opinion.
So how'd y'all retrieve them then? If y'all were like on the bank?
So I was by myself.
Using the waves, or
so the waves pushed them in. I also took a fishing pole because I had an idea of that we might not be able to go based on weather the first day. But I already had my flights booked and all that, so I kind of didn't want to reschedule. But so I had a fishing pole with a lure on the end, a treble hook on the end. But yeah, so that first day by myself, I shot some like common Murrays and barrels, golden eyes, just whatever. But it was still, like I said, awesome. There's a casualty that day. I was sliding down the mountain. I ripped my Sitka waders. Caught on a rock, ripped all up my back. I had no clue about it. It was terrible.
Did you send them back in for repairs?
Yeah, I just got them back like probably a month ago.
Did they repair them, or did they?
Oh, they repaired them. Yeah, I was trying to get them new ones because it was like literally from like right at the bottom of my back all the way up. It was just a huge gash going up, and like
I got to get a new pair of waders, and I've looked at them. I'm like, man, I just wonder how that repair, and if you send them in every year and keep them under that warranty thing.
So they're the most comfortable waders I've ever worn. I like them a lot. They're awesome. I like that they can be repaired, but I feel like they're a money pit because, like you said, you have to send them in every year for the reconditioning, and like even though they repaired them, like it was my fault, so I had to pay $100. But if I was gonna go with new waders, the second time I went to Alaska, the guide provided waders, and he had gator waders. Mm-hmm. Those things were awesome. They're not.
I looked at them too. The neoprenes or the breathables.
Breathable. I'll tell you what, those gator waders were awesome. That's the next ones I'm gonna buy for my girlfriend when she needs some, because let me tell you, I enjoyed those. They felt awesome.
My biggest problem with waders is my feet get cold. I cannot stand for my feet to get cold, and I am glad to see some of these wader companies actually moving up into like 1,600 grams now. And I know Gator does high and dry, and I think that tieweed, but
yeah,
You hear a lot of weird stuff about Tywee.
We kind of do this thing where if you put like dress socks underneath your normal socks, it kind of helps with like wicking the sweat away. Because like a lot of times for me is my feet get like I get sweaty setting up, and then you sit there and then your feet get cold. So like there was always an old trick. Like you said, you put like some dress socks underneath your on first before you put your thermal socks on, or something similar to that usually helps.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's uncomfortable when your feet get wet. or cold. It's just like, nah, I'm done. That's it. There's I sit out there all day as long as my feet ain't cold and I got something in my belly. I got some Scooby snacks. Man, we can go all day. We run out of Scooby snacks. We're gonna have to call it a day.
Can't run out of snacks.
So what happened? What was different on the second trip?
Yeah, so the second trip, I went to St. Paul Island. So what there's 2 places in the world that you can go to target king eiders where you like there's a really good chance you're going to shoot some. And one of them is St. Paul Island, which is 200 miles off the mainland of Alaska into the Bering Sea.
How far?
200 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the other place is Greenland. So obviously I went to St. Paul. What happened was there's a guide. He actually lives in Michigan, which is pretty close to me. I've been talking to him for like a year or 2 about it, and I can never get anyone to commit. But I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I have an opening, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay," I was like, maybe I can make this work. So I started talking to him, and him and I worked out a deal. And so like a month before the trip, I booked it, and that's a crazy place to get to because I had to take a plane from Chicago to Anchorage, and then you have to I had a layover in Seattle, but whatever. And then from there you have to get one of them little like 20 passenger planes to take you out to the island. And they only
stump jumpers.
Yeah. And they only run planes every 5 days. So it's and they cancel a lot for weather. And like a lot of people say, just getting to the island is half the battle. A lot of people lose their luggage and stuff like that. It's like I said, it's a real trip.
So that's what I'd be worried about. I'd be worried about losing underwear and my shotgun. Other than that, I probably could live without anything else.
Yeah, well, there's a trick to that because so for that little 20 passenger plane, they also take the mail to the island all the time. So like sometimes they'll bump your luggage and you lose it. Well, your gun case is a must fly item, so like it's not gonna get bumped from the plane. So you got to pack like some clothes, shells, a couple important things to get you by in case your other bag gets lost.
Right.
In there. But
there probably ain't no Dollar General down there.
No, there's on the island there is a liquor store, a grocery store, and a bar.
Funny you said that liquor store because you watch some Alaska state trooper shows and they're always talking about how drunk the Alaskan people are. I mean, they probably have to stay warm. I mean, How cold was it on the first trip? How cold was it, and how cold was it on the second trip? And what time frame?
So my first trip was the beginning of November. It was like 20 degrees, not too bad. Then the second trip, actually St. Paul Island, it's like very mild weather. So a lot of the time, like temperature wise. So it was like 30 degrees. It wasn't bad, but I mean it can get real cold down there. But yeah, it's a real small island. It's run by the natives. So like it's all up to them. So you gotta be careful because if you piss them off, they can kick you off the island for good.
I guarantee you had to take your shells there, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, the guide, his name's Jeremy Ullman with King Eider Adventures. He's just an awesome guy. But he recommended they try Boss shells. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Oh yeah, that's for the most part. 95% of the time, that's all I shoot. And
really?
I love that 3.5. And if you shot them there and you light them there, wait till the new. My brain just went blank. War Chief, jeez, them new War Chief design, I'm telling you, hold a tighter pattern than the previous design by a good bit. I got
Really?
some, yeah, I got some of the pre design, and they're awesome. And they are some great people to work with too. So, but yeah, but you're
They
gonna
don't live
pay.
that far from me.
You're gonna pay for them, just like you were talking about the Apex TSS. I mean, that TSS don't play around, but I mean, you're gonna have to pay for it to do it. But you
Yeah,
definitely take less shots with the boss.
yeah. The boss guys, they don't live too far from me, and a couple of my buddies have had some run-ins with them. But yeah, the shells themselves are pretty good. I don't have much complaints other than if they get wet, you're screwed.
Yeah,
I had a
I
couple.
have I have had them get wet, go down in my barrel and get wet and wouldn't shoot. But you know when you then pick your gun up and pour it out, and water pours out the end of the barrel. Ain't much you can say about that, you know. But one thing I have, and you know, that would be salt water up there. Problem I had with, I was using a Maxis 2, and I was shooting some steel out of that Maxis 2, which is a gas system, and the
Yeah.
fragments of that the steel fragments was getting in my shotgun and rusting in the salt water
Wow.
in the marsh and in the coast. And I don't have that problem with Boss because of the, you know, everything's copper coated bismuth. But yeah, I ran into that problem with steel. What gun you shooting?
So right now, my favorite gun, I got a A5.
A5. I got an A5 too. I got the
I-
Wicked Wings.
Yeah, I love that thing, dude. I can't miss. Like, it's
So are
insane.
you using the factory chokes?
Yep. I don't.
Real.
I don't do any of that. Ever since I was like I said, I shoot cheap shells. I use the factory chokes, and we don't have any problem. We drop birds anywhere from
So
50
are
to
you
60
using
yards.
the full?
No, I use it's like a full modified.
I got you. So I got the A5 too also, and I got the Wicked Wings A5 and I got the Wicked Wings Maxis. And my Maxis will outshoot my A5 hands down every
Really?
single time. And I measured my improved cylinder modified, and when I pattern test my A5, my improved cylinder had a tighter pattern than my modified. I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense. So when I measured it with a micrometer, I'm like, man, these things are backwards. And I bought a set of Carlson choke tubes just before I partnered up with Kicks. We're talking last year. I bought some Carlsons, and it really has brought that A5 alive.
Really?
Did you say yours was Wicked Wings?
No, I don't have a. No, it's just the
Okay, so your choke tubes are not the
extended one.
extended chokes.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So mine are the extended goose band that's looks like a goose
Yeah.
band. Yeah, I'm telling you, them are trash. And another guy in my state, Daddy Duck 365, he just bought the A16 Wicked Wings. Same thing. Them extended ones. I'm talking about his was so bad. Like here's where he's trying to shoot. They're shooting way up here, and just like mine, the improved cylinder's tighter than the modified.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know. I don't know what Browning was using when they designed the Wicked Wings choke with the Wicked Wings gun. I mean, they were probably using a Browning shell that I just had not found that combination that choke and that gun likes. But since I switched over to a Carlson's, night and day difference. I'm talking about night and day difference.
I'll have to check it out because like we've never really had any problems. I mean, I can send you some videos. I have like some highlight videos from last year, and like we were dropping birds 50, 60 yards. Like when we go to North Dakota, we kind of just mess around. There's just so many birds. We kind of, there's one flying by, and we'll say, like, I bet you can't hit it, type thing. So
right, and that might be that's probably the difference between you were using the original A5 DS chokes versus them Wicked Wings, because
Yeah.
I think they're titanium also. So I don't know.
That's weird. I also like I grew up shooting Remington, so I love my 1187. I just got a Beretta A400. I got the left-handed one. That thing's pretty nice. I used that last year a little bit, but I don't know.
I got 1187 Premier, and I mean that gun, I love it. I mean, up to last year, or probably about 3 years ago, I finally replaced that little rubber seal in that 1187.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it just come back to life. I mean, it was crazy.
we
Now,
usually keep a handful of them in our blind bags because we've had it where that rubber seal went out. And we were stranded. So
yeah, that ain't something you can pick up nowadays with just going down to the store and picking up.
yeah.
The guy that normally runs my camera, my buddy, he goes hunting with me a lot too. He has the A400. I think it's the String Plus. Is that the one you got with the kickoff?
I don't know. I only shot a handful of times. Mine is like it's like a bronze Cerakote with a wood.
Wood, yeah. So with the wood, it would have the kickoff and the butt stop. His has the kickoff dead in the middle of the butt stop and at the end.
Huh.
Yeah,
Like
that Beretta's a smooth shooting gun. I mean, I tell you, now I bought the A300 in a 20 gauge last year for the kids to shoot, and I just want something lighter that ain't shooting a 12 gauge all the time. And I bought the 300 Ultima, and literally I bought it. It shipped to the my dealer there. I signed the paperwork. I got it in my hands, and the very next day, Beretta sends out an email introducing the new 20 gauge A400. I was like,
man,
it's mine now. I mean, there ain't nothing you can do about it at that point. But I was like, I can't believe they just came out with an A400 20 gauge with all the kickoff stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh well, here we are.
Those Extreme Pluses, they feel nice because I wanted one, but I really wanted a left-handed gun because I never bought a left-handed gun before. I always shoot right-handed guns, and they didn't offer the Extreme Plus in left-handed, so I had to get that other one, and it's okay. It just it doesn't feel. I wouldn't say it feels as heavy duty as the Extreme Plus, but I don't know.
They probably weigh a pound and a half more than your A5 too.
Oh, that A400 I have is light.
Really?
Like it is light. Like I can't. It's lighter than my A5.
Really? That A5's I think somewhere around.
Let me see.
We can't show it on the live.
Oh, okay. Forgot about that.
Yeah, YouTube and Facebook wouldn't like it.
Man,
yeah, I know it's the even the cutout of it is ridiculous. But yeah, they don't like the live. But yeah, now his A400, I mean, it's a smooth shooting gun. I love my A300. They always say if you want a good gun, get one of the 3Bs. So Brown, Red, and Benelli. I can say I have not shot a Benelli yet. I got their nasty cousins, the Stogers, but I don't have no Benelli yet.
Yeah. I mean, all my buddies have them. I've held them. I don't like them. They're really thin. I don't like the way they feel in my hands. I know a lot of people do like them though. But I took out that A400 first time hunting. I couldn't mess with that gun either. I don't know what that A5 and A400. Those are my favorite guns I've ever had.
Yeah, that A5. I tell people if you ain't never picked up an A5, as soon as you throw that A5 up, that rear sight is just like all up in your face. It's just ready. It's ready for business.
Well, I never held one, and actually, me and my girlfriend went to the gun store, and I saw one. It was up on there used. It was a real decent price. So I shouldered it, and I said, "Oh crap!" I said, I gotta buy it now because it was just perfect, and I've never had a gun just go to my shoulder as well as that one did.
Yeah, I got a bunch of the old A5s too. Now them things kick like a mule.
Yeah,
the old ones.
My dad has I think it's my great uncle's old Belgium A5. That thing, I took it
It
out one
it
day
will
last.
rock your arm.
Yeah. Well, I took it out last year I want to take it out, see if I could just shoot a couple birds with it, whatever, because it hasn't been used in years. And man, the first time I shot it, I went, oh man, like I couldn't believe it. It kicked, like you said, like a mule. It was insane.
Yeah, them 2 3/4 dove loads feel like 3.5 in a new gun. But it's just so much inertia. They call it long action, but basically it's that inertia, that spring bringing that barrel. I mean, I just love about every time I shoot them old A5s, you almost got to get a slow motion video of that barrel coming back
Moving.
into that receiver to throw the shell out to come back in. I mean, it's something. I mean, them old school guns. I mean, the only downside to the old Belgiums is the fixed barrels. They improved
Yeah.
cylinder or full or modified. You can take them to a gunsmith and they can put a choke system in it, but then that kind of devalues it tremendously, especially the Belgiums.
Yeah.
And that's
So
where the Japan model came in with chokes.
yeah, my uncle he actually got a barrel for it where you have the choke tubes, but we still have the original barrels for him too, which
Yeah,
the
that's
people guns
nice.
have tried to buy them from us a couple times.
I imagine so, but there's one uh, older gentleman on YouTube, Art's Gun Shop. I mean
No, yeah,
that man's got every part for the A5s, the old ones, and he's constantly talking about, if they're getting too hard to shoot, you need to just change the spring out. I mean, that man. Well, his background history, he used to work at Browning, so I mean, I love just getting in there and watching him work on them shotguns. I mean, he's messing with couple $1,000 guns, and they're
yeah,
just like, oh well, just knock this out, knock that out, and I'm like, man, here I am sweating bullets on hoping not to mess a gun up, and here he is. Oh, you just got to hit it. If it don't work, hit it harder. And I'm like,
oh boy,
yeah. I mean, he has the talent of it. That's for sure. So, what are your trips for planning this year? Are you going to top last year's? Is there a way to top last year's?
well, currently right now, I just added another trip today. I kind of happened by accident, but
Oh, sure. That's what I tell my wife. I just accidentally bought a gun. So now when I go to the gun store, she was like, "What'd you buy?" Nothing. Really? Yeah, I really didn't buy nothing. I don't know about that. So I know how that accidentally trip works.
yeah, well, it's funny because there's this guy. His name's John Ketchum, and he carves decoys. So he's been carving some decoys for me the last couple months, and he really wanted to do a crane decoy because he's never done one before, and he's like, no one's ever ordered one. I'm like, well, okay, well, let's get one going, whatever. Well, he's super,
You talking about Sandhill Crane?
yeah.
All right,
So
got you.
so he's carved me one of those, and he sent me some pictures from it yesterday, and he's like, man, like I can't wait to see you use it. I'm like, well, shit, now I got to go schedule a crane hunt, I guess, because you want to use his decoy, get his name out there, whatever. So, um,
So trip to Texas?
yeah. So far this year, I'm going to Texas for a teal opener. Then we're going to North Dakota for the non-resident opener. I'm going to Texas again for cranes. Me and my dad are going to Florida. We're going to try and shoot some whistlers. I'm going to Maine. And I think that's it.
That sounds like a great trip to me. I'm going out to
Oh,
Texas.
I'm
The
also going to
opener,
California.
California.
Yeah, I have a buddy over there. He's gonna hook me up. We're gonna try and shoot some cinnamons.
I was gonna say cinnamon teal and some. I'd love to go out there and shoot cinnamon teal and shoot ruddies in their summer plumage
Yeah,
because
those are.
they still got their plumage, and which I love ruddy ducks. We got a reservoir here that's got tons of ruddies. And
Really?
I shot one last year, and he done lost all his color except the blue on his bill there. His bill was blue, but the rest of his head, the rest of his body was already done lost to colors. I was like, and this was like middle of the season. I'm like, man, if I could have just got out here earlier, I might could have got him. Heck, he could have been flying. Ain't no telling. But I mean, it was pretty cool to still see some blue on his beak.
Yeah. My buddy, his name's Heath Hoogerhide. He went to California last year, and he shot a couple red ruddy ducks out there. That's something that's very hard to do. So he got lucky when they were out there. They found some.
Is California? Can you carry shells to California, or do you have to buy the shells in California?
I don't know. I should probably look into it. My buddy, he actually lives in Montana, but he used to live in California, so he's driving down there. So I'm going to order a case of shells to his house, and he's going to drive them down for me.
I got you. I'm for some reason I think that there's some kind of rule in California about that.
Yeah, there's some weird laws. I know.
So yeah, it's crazy. But I'm going to Texas November 4th and 5th. That's the opening weekend of Goose. Maybe hammer down on some specs and some Canadas. But I'm hoping, both fingers crossed, and my shoelaces that I don't have shoelaces in. But I'm hoping maybe because that early before the geese fly in, they do get some ducks. I'm hoping to maybe scratch off a pintail.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, that we were very close this year to losing the pintail, being able to shoot them. So
yeah,
I hope to maybe take that off the list before next year. But I definitely want to shoot a crane too, because I want to shoot a crane to mount it, but also shoot a crane to eat that, man. They talking about the ribeye of the sky, man. You talk about, everybody's like, oh, you gotta shoot this, and that's the best tasting bird. And I mean, like, we have them in our state. The middle of our state is a huge lake, and they're down there, but there's no season for them. So I hear they populate pretty good, especially out in Texas. I mean, I hear that, they once they start showing up, they really start showing up. So I'm hoping that maybe one day we might have a season here in South Carolina. But
there's a refuge like an hour from me, and they'll get up like 50,000 of them there.
Wow.
And you can't shoot them. You can go sightsee and all that, but yeah, that really sucks. They need to open up a season. Which I was told they don't have a season because in our area there's a couple whooping cranes, and those are endangered.
Right. And
so some people, it's harder for them to tell or whatever, so they don't even want to mess with.
I mean, that'd be like me. I wouldn't know the difference, especially when I'm flying. I mean, they would
yeah.
be like, well, is that yeah.
It's really not that hard to tell because whooping cranes are white, I believe, and sand hills are gray. But they both got the red face, and usually a whooping crane has a whole bunch of like bands on its legs and stuff like that. Because
it'd be hard to tell it flying though. I'd be having my binoculars out.
Yeah,
that's one of them that you don't probably want to do on a self-guided, freelance kind of deal.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
So, all the trips you went on last year, were they 50-50 self-guide, freelance, or were they all guided? Or
so when we went to go shoot teal, that was all freelance. Same thing with North Dakota, is all freelance. Michigan was freelance, and then everything else was guided because you can't go to Alaska by yourself. I don't care what anyone says. Same thing. Maryland, we went to with Pit Boss Waterfowl. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah, he's the one who got the biggest boat. The biggest. Were you in that big old boat?
Oh yeah, that thing's awesome.
I like watching him on Instagram. I mean, he's got to be. Which I know he probably ain't gonna watch this video, so I'm not going to hopefully offend him. But I mean, he looks like he might be in his late 50s, early 60s, and I mean, he's just like living life and like up every morning. All right, we got the boat ready at like 4:00 in the morning. I'm like, how is this dude doing it?
Seriously, I've never met someone that was so animated. Like this guy, I think he just loves what he does. Like it's
Oh, that's definitely a true statement there. I mean, the
and
way he has, I mean, he has a passion for his decoys too.
yeah. Oh, trust me. That so we went down there, and you always see like everyone can act however they want online, but then real life in person, that's a different story. No, this guy, one of the coolest guys I ever hunted with, one of the coolest guys I ever met. Like he took us around. He's building that pit boss headquarters that he's doing. So he took us around, was showing us all of that, showing like what he plans on doing and stuff. Like it was just awesome. Like, and then just sitting there having a conversation while we were hunting. Just an awesome guy. My actually, it's funny because back before there was all Facebook and all that, they had like the duck hunting forums online.
Right.
And him and my dad used to talk. They started one of the diver forums on there. So they used to talk like early 2000s all the time back when he was doing his stuff. So it was pretty cool.
I like watching him on video. He'll be like, wait. And then the guy shoots. Bam! I told you to wait. You can't shoot. You can't shoot. That's why I was waiting for them to get here closer because you can't shoot.
Yeah. That or then they wait too long and then they're already flying away by the time they shoot at them. That's why I was telling them, like, hey, don't worry. Like, I'm going to get you some shooters. We're going to come up here finally because I keep watching all your videos and those guys can't shoot, man.
I mean, he just trips out. I mean, he's like, I'm telling you, he's like Mountain Dew commercial all the time. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I really don't. I mean, I like following him on Instagram. I want to get him on the conversation, but I know one day, he's going to be like, who are you? Well, I ain't got time for you. So I ain't never asked, but
no, I would definitely reach out to him if I were, because he's cool. I still talk to him all the time. He actually does his own podcast. He just started up, but he's just an awesome guy. I don't think he would ever act like that.
Yeah, that new place where he's building is really awesome. And cool. I mean, that boat just on pictures looks huge. And I mean, he's got the setup. I mean, he if you're looking for a diver, I guarantee he's doing it.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I just can't believe the stuff he's doing. And
what time of the year did you go with him?
Middle of January.
Middle of January. Was it a good hunt?
Oh yeah. If you can shoot, you're gonna shoot your limit. Like he doesn't post a lot of the birds and all that, but yeah, I know my buddy went like a year or two ago. He's like, yeah, we shot a limit. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like you don't see him post a lot of that. He just shows the videos of you shooting and whatever. But yeah, no, it's awesome.
Did you fly to Maine or did you drive?
Maryland or Maine?
I meant up there to see him.
We drove. It's like 12-hour drive.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
I mean, that's why I was telling my wife. She was like, "You gonna fly to Texas?" I'm like, if I drive, I ain't got to worry about checking in my shotguns. I ain't got to worry about shotgun shells. If I shoot something to bring back, I don't have to worry about all that. And I'm like, I think I'm just gonna drive.
Yeah. So I brought all my birds from Alaska back on the plane, and it's really not that bad. What I did is I have a cooler backpack, so I just froze them and put them in there, and I took them as a carry-on, and they were pretty cool about it.
Did you have to check that in with customs, or I mean, I know you didn't go. I know you didn't go from like through customs, but is that something that you have to like tell people that you're traveling?
No,
through airspace, or
the only thing is sometimes they'll stop you like when you go through security because they're looking for organic matter for like bombs and stuff. So they saw that and they pulled the bag aside, opened it up, or they're like, "Oh, dead ducks." Okay, and then just zipped it up.
Be like, "Whoo, that stinks."
No, luckily I was able. So when I came back from St. Paul Island, I had 4 kings, 4 old squaws, couple harlequin in there and some other birds or whatever, and my first flight got delayed. I ended up being like 3 or 4 hours later after I was supposed to get back, so it was like a 15-hour trip back home, and they were all perfectly frozen and whatever. Like I had no problems with it. So.
Well, when they frozen and then frozen beside each other, they're holding that cold in.
Yeah, well, I have
At
the
least
Yeti.
helping.
I have that Yeti backpack cooler. And that thing's awesome for those kind of trips.
So where'd you go to in Georgia?
Um,
Is that's Lake Sonoma or
Seminole, yeah.
yeah,
So
Seminole?
I don't. Have you watched the video Mark Peterson? He went and did all 41s or all the species in like one season.
I seen Ramsey's does all his craziness that man gets to do, but no, I didn't. I haven't watched him.
Well, okay. Well, I would definitely recommend it because it's an awesome video. But during COVID, actually, he went and shot all the species. So we ended up going with the guy that he went with in that video, like Seminole, to shoot canvasbacks.
Was that No Limit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they about the only one that does it, and I think that I know for a fact they're already booked up for this whole year.
Yeah,
And I keep watching to see if they do like what you talk about your specials, where they throw up a hey, we got somebody, we got an opening one day.
Yeah. So
that's which they do have that. But what'd you shoot down there? Redhead and canvasback.
So we shot. So like I said, that's the trip my girlfriend and I went down. So what we did, I had a couple of friends I found on Facebook. We drove down to Lake Seminole. The first day we actually drove a couple hours to Florida to hunt with some friends, and then the second day we drove back to first 2 days we hunted right over the Florida border with a couple guys we met on Facebook, and then the third day we drove back to Lake Seminole and hunted with them, and we shot some canvasbacks, some widgeon, and some coots.
That was probably a pretty good ride because that's at the bottom. So if somebody's listening and don't know, that lake's at the bottom left of Georgia, almost in the Florida line.
Yeah.
I mean, it's way down there.
It was a 12-hour drive for us.
I mean, what I see on social media and the internet, them boys has got it going on down there, that No Limit.
They got a good setup. Like I said, it's all dependent on the birds. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Right. I know we had a lot of fun. It's cool.
That's a big old lake too, though.
Yeah, they take you out, set you up, with like the bamboo blinds where they get you like in a circle and you stand there while birds are flying around. It's pretty cool.
But that's a lot. They got a lot of marshy area, ain't it?
Yeah, in the back. We kind of hunted out on the main lake.
I've only looked at it at Google Maps because I'm not. That ain't like, oh, I'm just gonna ride down there and look at that lake, the freelance, because that's like I think it's like 14-hour ride for me from South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
It ain't something I could just like freelance and take my boat to, because it would have to be some given time, because that ain't something you can do in one day.
Yeah, that was a tough trip because so we left, I want to say like December 17th. About 2 hours in the trip, we got rear-ended. It was like 15-mile-an-hour traffic. Like we were barely.
So that's what paid for the trip. Oh, whip cash.
Yeah. So 2 hours in, we got rear-ended, and we're like, well, might as well keep going. So we drove down there and then had no sleep, came back, and then we came back Christmas Eve. And on the drive back, the ice, we were like 4 hours from home. It took 12 hours to get home though, because it was like covered in ice. There was terrible weather. There was crashes everywhere. And then the next day, Christmas Day, I left and went to Alaska. So it was a very rough time.
Yeah, that would be rough. Driving, being up, and then get on a plane to fly somewhere that the time's different. Your body can't get used to that.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Then it was just stressful too, because like when I was going to Alaska, my first flight leaving Chicago got delayed, and I had a layover in Seattle like 35 minutes after I was supposed to land. So like we got delayed like an hour and a half, and I was out sitting there texting my mom like, Mom, you gotta find me another plane to get on, because if the one in Anchorage, if I missed the one going to the island from there, then I was screwed for 5 days. So like, wow. I was like,
I mean, that wouldn't probably be a terrible thing other than work.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it would be bad. It was that would ruin my whole trip because, like I said, she was able to get me on the next flight out of the Seattle to where I was able to get to Anchorage in time. But like we got there and there was like 200 people in line trying to reschedule flights and stuff. So I was super lucky. My parents were able to call and get me on there ahead because otherwise that would have ruined my trip because I don't have vacation time like that to be.
Yeah. And that's what scares me now. And that's what I was thinking about too with going to Texas on the airplane is so many flights right now are so canceled. I mean, people are, you seeing them. Well, that one airplane where people were dying on the airplane because of the heat. And I mean,
Yeah.
they were just sitting there, and then you see in the news where people are just sleeping in the on the ground. I'm like, I could just drive. I mean, granted, yeah, I could get there faster, but I might be in just like your scenario. I only get so much time vacation. Hey, I might end up in Texas out there and be like, well, I can't get home. So, I mean, I can't afford to go shoot anything else either. So, but I mean, even, airport ain't cheap to eat out of.
No.
I mean, you talking big money for them. Let me get a ham sandwich. All right, $15.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then the crazy thing was when I was leaving the island, so like the airline to and from the island is called Raven, Alaska, and it's a real small company. They cancel flights all the time. So about 20 minutes before we were gonna head to the airport there, they called and canceled the flights. And I was like, man, like this sucks. Like the next one isn't for 4 more days. Like, what am I gonna do? And so some of the other guys that were on the island, they stopped by, like, hey, do you need a charter? Like, we have one seat open in the charter. It's $1,200. I was like, man, like, I don't want to be stuck here. I already shot all the birds I was allowed to shoot. I didn't want to waste my vacation. So I was able to jump onto their charter plane real quick. It was like an 8-person plane and get back, make it on time. Yeah, it was a stressful trip, but definitely an awesome one. Something I would recommend to anyone.
I can imagine going to Alaska wouldn't be a easy trip to manage either. I mean, the distance.
Yeah,
that's probably what makes them birds worth the much, like going up there to shoot that king. I mean, it's the journey.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a difference between going, like, the first time I went, I was in Whittier, not too far from Anchorage. Like, that's a tough trip, but going to St. Paul, that's a completely, like, whole nother level. Like I said, just the traveling part of it is insane. So
did you let her outshoot you in Georgia?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I keep missing. Maybe it's these shells.
Yeah, no, she's a pretty good shot. This is the first year that she actually started shooting. Last year she started going with me just to see what it was all about. And this year I got her kind of shooting. The first hunt she went on, she shot a couple birds, geese, whatever. And then funny story, one of the birds I haven't shot is a ringneck. And one of the days we were down in Florida, she shot one, and of course never heard the end of it because she's bragging like, I shot one, you haven't, haha. Like, because
it's how it always is. I mean, they shoot the banded, not only would it be banded, it'd be the banded one with the transmitter on it.
Yeah, right.
Like what in the world?
Yeah. Well, and it's like I've had plenty of opportunities to shoot them, but for whatever reason, I don't know why. Like, I've had them 20 yards in my face coming at me, and I just miss. Like, I cannot shoot a ringneck to save my life. And I
shot one last year.
Yeah, I gotta get one. I'm hoping we get someone we go down to Florida this year. So,
yeah, I hope this year's a good year for everybody. I really do. I hope that I hope them fires up in Canada didn't mess anything up. Canada would be on my list to go. I definitely would like to go to Canada. And like I said earlier, listening to Ramsey, I mean, that dude, I would love to go on some of them trips that he go on. But talking about he going to Africa and Antarctica and Argentina, and I mean,
yeah, I was looking into that. I really want to go. I want to go to Africa and shoot the pygmy geese. Those things are awesome looking. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but
yeah,
they got some cool ones. The cool thing,
his little trip thing to Mexico isn't a bad deal.
yeah.
I mean, it's not very expensive. It's like $3,000 for two people. You get a hotel room and you stay on the resort and food and.
You're talking about Ramsey Russell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep seeing. So, because I want to go on a trip like that, but because everyone goes to Argentina, but you can't bring any of the birds back. So I've been trying to find somewhere like Mexico or something where you can bring the birds home because I want to mount them,
Right.
So, yeah, he's got awesome stuff.
I hear him talk sometimes about on this podcast how they do it. They somehow. I think a taxidermist, if you give them to a taxidermist can ship it to another taxidermist, kind of like guns, but he does have ways of doing that. But I mean, I don't know about Argentina. I'm just saying certain places he goes.
Yeah, because I know the Argentina government says their birds are sacred and no one's allowed to take them out of the country.
Right.
So that's the main. Otherwise, I would book Argentina in a heartbeat. That place is awesome.
Yeah, he goes on some crazy trips. I mean, I don't know how. I wouldn't say he's rolling in the money on that, but he's definitely creating once in a lifetime trips for people. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And that's so I mentioned Jeremy Ullman. That's one of the things I really liked about him because. He even said it's not about the money. He really doesn't make much when he does those trips to St. Paul Island. He said he loves getting people up there, getting their kings, letting them do that kind of thing because it's just.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, everybody going to Alaska, that's pretty much a trophy bird. I mean,
yeah. Well, especially St. Paul because it's a hard place to get to because he had to. I know he had to drive his truck and boat all the way up. He had to drive it to Alaska. Then you have to get it on a ship. And it takes about a month to get it to the island. Wow. So, and then he has to leave his stuff there. So there's someone he pays to keep like one of those storage containers, and he keeps all his stuff in that container, and he pays the guy to let him keep it on his yacht in his property, and like it's tough. Like he has to order all the food for them because their season's only a month up there. So you order all the food like way in advance, so then it gets there right when you get there, and like it's very very tough. I think. It's really expensive to get started up there, though.
Since the sun come up at 10 o'clock, how long did it stay up?
Till about 5:30.
I bet it got dark, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it was really dark. I actually was lucky. I was there on New Year's, so it was pretty cool to see because they have the one bar and like everyone on the island went to that bar, celebrate New Year's and all. That was kind of cool. They had like a potluck and they had a band. They did fireworks. Cool. It was awesome just to see like how they do their New Year's there. But
well, that's pretty cool. I think I covered everything on my topic there. And I showed you in one of my pictures too. I got a chest mounted merganser, and we was talking about your daddy the way he started it, and I've never seen it or heard of it before. And then when I saw your pictures online, I'm like, man, I got one of them like that. But just like what he said, merganser, other than their heads, they're really not pretty birds. So I mean,
yeah, just a bunch of black and white.
That's right. I mean, other than that, it's just like a pretty much solid black all the way back. And the guy that did mine,
I have one of each of them on here. I did like the hooded, the red breasted, and the common.
Yeah, I see that.
But yeah, no, I don't care what anyone says. So where I live, we shoot a lot of mergansers. I'm right on the southern tip of Lake Michigan. I grew up diver hunting out there, and I always tell people like I can't promise you any birds except for mergansers. We shoot them all the time.
You see people online all the time talking about I pretty much got all my birds scratched off except a hooded merganser. I'm like, how do you? Everywhere you go, you see hooded mergansers, but I don't.
Really? See, I haven't shot one either. That's one of the birds I haven't.
Really?
I've
they in South Carolina.
I said I've had one opportunity to shoot one. Of course, I panicked and missed, but we
mean,
shoot.
that's how it always is. When the pressure is on, I did that last year. The guys in the blind was like, all right, nobody's going to shoot. This one bird is yours. I mean, the darn bird was so close. I should have just reached out and hit it with the butt stop. But,
and
of course, you miss, and then you never hear the end of it.
Yeah. It's funny because that's one of the things I was so worried about going all the way up to Alaska. I'm going to get up there. I'm not going to be able to shoot. I'm going to miss all these kings. I'm going to panic, whatever. Every single king that came in, I was able to drop, no problem. Like, I don't know if it was those shotgun shells or what. Like, the first bird I dropped was 70 yards, every bit of 70. Because we're coming in, there's all like 5-foot waves. This boat is bouncing. They're like, oh, shoot him. So I stand up. I go, boom, boom. And it's like, I like fell over right before I shot and whatever, and I dropped it, and it was just like stone cold dead. Couldn't believe it.
Wow.
But yeah, I was very lucky. I did not have a problem shooting birds up there.
Yeah, some of them divers are my favorite too. I just love to watch divers and love them in the water. And I mean, some of them divers, I mean, they just take a pounding. I'm talking about they're just brutal to finish off.
Yeah, so golden eyes, I think, are the worst. We've had it where they'll be flying in, we'll shoot them, they drop, hit the water, and dive instantly, right? So you're sitting there looking for them, and they come out of the water flying.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. You're looking this way, and here's the diver, 2 football fields back this way. I'm like, how did you swim that fast?
Yeah,
they are crazy.
That's like I said, that's what I grew up doing. My dad started hunting out there in like the 70s. Back then there was probably one other guy that hunted out there. And now it's like, internet, social media, all this stuff. Like, there's so many guys out there, it's just ridiculous. And
when you were freelancing this past year, were you public land, or were you using like HuntX or something, or knocking on doors?
So like North Dakota, we get permission, go knock on doors, everything like that. Texas was all public land. Like, my buddy, he hunts all public land down there. So like, their public land's different. They have places where you draw for blinds, and they also have places that are walk-in, where like 4:30 a gate opens, you got to race everyone to your spot type thing.
That's kind of North Carolina. The Outer Banks kind of like that too. They got like a check-in station, first one there, and then drawing like that too. Which, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, got to do it somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it beats free falls.
Yeah, definitely. That's when we go to California in January, we're gonna be hunting public land like that too. So it's kind of exciting. I guess we're staying like right on the reservation too. So, or the refuge.
Right. Well, I can't wait to see some pictures from this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna get better at taking videos, because I have some videos and stuff like that, but then I'll just kind of get caught up living in the moment. And then,
it's hard. You're either going to record or shoot, and you usually think you hit the record button and you didn't. I know exactly how that feels, because you can be like, I'm gonna record this whole trip, and your battery died or.
Oh no, I come prepared like that, because I always keep a GoPro on my head with like 6-7 extra batteries. Then I have like portable chargers to charge them up, and then I have a shot cam on my gun. So,
did you see any improvements out of your shooting after getting a shot cam? Like, are you using it? Are you using it just to record, or are you actually using it like to improve?
So I can see how it definitely would help you improve, but I just use it to record. I haven't. I'm trying to think of how to answer this without sounding cocky. I have never had a problem hitting birds. I just like the idea of being able to see it and watch your shot, that kind of thing. So,
because them are not cheap cameras.
No, not at all.
Even like I think they just came out with a new version, and even the older ones are not. They're not cheap. I mean, what, 300 range, 350,
450 usually.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the 350 one was the last year's model or something.
Yeah.
Or man, they could have been like the remanufactured or something. But yeah, they're not. That's not something cheap that you could just strap on your gun and be like, oh well, this is going to help me.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
in return it will help you, but it won't. It ain't gonna be instant.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see it would be an awesome tool to, help people who are having trouble with shooting birds and all that. It's because you line up that crosshair and, can really see where you're shooting and where your problems are. So
yeah, I got you video there from the trip.
I got a couple.
I'm definitely I might share that on my channel later. Might put that in the community tab. So if you watch it on YouTube, I'm gonna drop these videos that he sent me from his YouTube on the community tabs there.
Yeah, there's just St. Paul, and then I have a highlight video just of all the stuff we did last year.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great year. Maybe this time next year I get you back on, and we'll see if the 23-24 trip is better than the 22-23. I mean, you can only go get better, right? I mean, it's only can get better.
I don't know, man, because that St. Paul trip, like even Jeremy, he's like, yeah, it's crazy that you're doing this so young. Most guys, this is their last bird they need to shoot. Their last trip they got to go on, and whatever. I'm like, yeah, well, I had an opportunity, and I
sometimes you just got to jump on it like that. Yeah. I mean, you get the opportunity, you got to jump on it.
Well, part of the reason I wanted to go is this last year was the first year they opened up the island since COVID. So the birds that were there, they haven't been hunted in 2 years, and everyone, he's booked out for a couple of years, but he had to cancel this year because he thought the island would still be closed. So he had a bunch of like last minute openings. I'm like, well, I either do it this year or I wait like 3 or 4 years, and plus I'll get to hunt birds that haven't been hunted in 2 years. So
yeah, I mean that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Less educated birds.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it don't take much for them to be shot at before they get well educated.
Yeah, and especially the harlequin up there, they're all local birds. There's no harlequin that migrate down to St. Paul, like the king eiders. They all migrate from the Arctic Circle, but the harlequins up there, they're just local birds. So they get educated real quick.
So did you do a full body mount on it, or did you do a chest mount on the harlequin?
Yeah, so I took one king and one harlequin to a guy in my area. His name is Mark Drexler with Autumn Wings Taxidermy. He has those birds he's going to mount for me.
Yeah,
because I figured
that's one of them that you don't want to mess up on. I mean,
yeah. Well, I had 4 kings and 3 harlequin to in the freezer, so I was like, well, I'll have plenty to practice on. I might as well take one of the each, and have them professionally done. Get a full mount, whatever. I've been kind of getting into the full body mounts. Starting to do a little more of those once I get better, because I have some really cool ideas I want to do with like multi-species mounts, stuff like that.
That's a lot to do too to get them clean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's part of the reason I like the head mounts, because I can do one in 2 hours as opposed to like 8.
Yeah, getting all that fat out and not having the grease bleed through on the feathers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely a tough one.
Well, I appreciate your time, and man, I hope your trips this year is awesome as next year's. Definitely get some pictures posted on your Instagram of that decoy he's making, because I mean that thing's got to be. I mean, how you going? Are you just going to drive down to Texas, or I mean,
yeah, it's
carry it on the plane, or
yeah. Once he gets it all made and all that, I'll put up the pictures, because I think he's kind of being a little hush hush about it, because he's it's the first thing he's done, whatever. But it's like,
my God, it probably takes a stump about that big to carve out. I mean, how many? And the birds are like 40-something pounds, ain't he? 50?
I don't know. I've never had a crane, so I don't know how big they are. But he sent me a mock-up of it yesterday. The body from head to tail, it's like 3 foot. So it's gonna be
what you got? What you got in the back seat, sir? Well, we can't get nothing else back there because we got the decoy back there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna get that in the plane.
Hey, I don't know. I wouldn't want to put it in a box and ship it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's gonna be expensive, but I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I got it. I got it. That is your what's them dolls?
Emotional support.
Yeah, your emotional support. That's your emotional support decoy, and you're going to have to carry it on because without Teddy Bear there, you're not going to be able to make the trip.
No, yeah, exactly. I think that'll work.
Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to video the trip of that, and that could be the next big sensational video.
Yeah.
The support crane. That big old lab.
Yeah. That's Hank. He's 2.5 years old, and man, this dog is insane.
I bet that joker eating a bag of dog food a week.
Yeah, he's only 75 pounds. He's kind of small, but yeah, no, he's I got lucky with that one, I'll tell you. He probably his 4th duck hunt ever. We were in North Dakota, and he was chasing a cripple, and the bird dove, and then he dove after it and came up out of the water with the bird in his mouth.
Wow.
And my dad, he's raised labs, his whole life. He's like, man, I've never seen a dog do that, like that early, that young. Like he was 8 months old, I think. Wow. 8.5 months old doing that. So yeah, he's got some crazy drive in him. I actually got a video of it with my drone too, which is pretty cool.
I got a boykin that I got trained. Well, I trained up this year, and she's doing real good. So this year will be her first year.
Awesome. Yeah,
she's got some drive in her too. She is, she wide open. Boykins.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard. Yeah, hunting with a dog, man, it makes it was fun, whatever. And then I got him, and it's just awesome. Like watching them do their thing, and I got videos of him chasing geese across the field. Like it's just awesome to watch. It kind of adds a whole new element to the hunt,
Next month we start our dove season, and I can't wait for her to start retrieving doves. I hope she picks up on that pretty quick.
Yeah, trust me, it's a cool thing to see, because you train them. I got them in February. We trained all the way till our first hunt and ended beginning of October. And it was just awesome to see him kind of put it all together. He's like, oh, this is what we've been training for. This is why we did all this. And he just once we get that first hunt in, it was just go. Man, they they get it.
It's just bred into them. I mean, they just know what to do.
Yeah, that's I don't know how many birds we're in North Dakota. I don't know. There's probably half our birds we would not have retrieved if it wasn't for him. You could tell him the last day, because we're hunting twice a day for 5 days, and that last day you could see him kind of just slowly moving through the mud, he is worn out.
Yeah, I bet he slept good too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every little chance he got, he was asleep because we were working him like a dog.
Wow. All right. So how can people get a hold of you? How they? Obviously, I said that you have Instagram. So how does people follow you? How they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So yeah, I have Instagram. It's just Turpin Clay 22. I also have a photography page. It's foulmouth.photography, spelled like foul, FOWL. You can hit me up on Facebook or any of that, really. I'm pretty much everywhere.
Did you take any cool pictures while you were up in Alaska?
I think I have some. I have to go through and look. I was more focused on the videos and all that stuff. Most of my photography is wildlife and ducks and that kind of thing. So,
before we get off, do you hunt anything else other than ducks? Any deer?
So when I can get out, I usually just hunt ducks, and then after duck closes, I'll hunt late goose season. We do pheasant, dove, We do some coyotes and deer. We kind of, I
Y'all
kind
have
of grew up hunting everything.
y'all have like real pheasants, or are they farm raised pheasants?
There's some areas you can go to where there's wild pheasants, but most of the places are put and take kind of thing.
Coyotes done hurt half the population probably.
Yeah, that's bad. We're overrun with coyotes right now. We
Yeah,
do a
that's the
lot.
way we are with quail.
Really?
They done mutilated the quails. I think South Carolina DNR. I think somewhere, I don't remember where, if it came by email or on app or something. They were wanting you to, even when you spot quail now, they want you to, mark where you were and how many you saw and what time. And
No kidding.
I haven't seen a quail out in the woods like on its own in a couple of years.
Really? Huh? That's
You
crazy.
We don't have to hear them. Now they just, which, kind of like what some people are talking about with rattlesnakes now. Rattlesnakes done quit rattling because coyotes are eating them. So I mean,
yeah.
maybe the quails are like, hey, if I ain't whistling, I ain't dying. So I mean, they ain't dumb either. So
yeah, that's Yeah, that's I didn't know they would eat rattlesnakes. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I hear that a lot, that rattlesnakes quit rattling because they giving up their territory. They can hear them, and then the coyotes are tearing them up. But I don't like coyotes, but the coyotes can have every rattlesnake or any kind of other snake they ever want, because I don't even like a dead one.
Yeah.
I don't do no snakes. And that's one thing about early goose season. You out there hunting, and the whole time you walking is like, I know there's snakes out here.
I saw one when I was in Texas last year. I was walking to the truck, and I just heard, I didn't even see it, honestly. I heard it rattling, and I just took off running. Like, I'd never seen one before, and I'm sitting there all here. I said, "Oh crap!" and I just took off. I wasn't even about to look and see.
I'd be screaming like a little girl. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I kind of did the same thing too, because when we were down there, we were hunting a cattle pond, and we start walking out there. We shine the flashlights. All of a sudden, you see like eyes just lighting up everywhere. And my buddy's like, "Oh, those are gators." And I said, "Oh crap."
Yeah. Now, like I said earlier, that daddy duck, he's down there in middle of the state. He's talking about, them gators are more scared of you than they are you with them. And it's like, I don't know about that. I mean, I kind of like my leg, and he's like, that's nothing to it. That's like a little 3-foot gator. I'm like,
that's the guys that were living down there, because they were telling us about it. And I'm like, oh man, they're like, yeah, basically they sit there waiting the decoys. You drop a bird, you got to race the gator to the duck, and then you're like, if you just kick it, it'll go away. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Sorry.
That's how you end up on them funny videos.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that too. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to cover before we call it a night? Anything we didn't cover?
Not really that I could think of. Like I said, if you ever have any questions, or like I said, if maybe come on at the end of next season, we could talk a little bit and do a recap. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, see if we could top your last season.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, if you ever find yourself up here, especially during season, just you can always message me and try and put something together.
That sounds like a plan. Maybe by this time next year, you have them 2 full-bodied mounts back.
Yeah, I hope so. My buddy took some whistlers to him, and he's just now mounting him. It's been a year and a half. So
yeah, that's typical. About most taxidermists about a year out, unless now there's a couple taxidermists you can expedite your birds. It's called that expedite fun. You slip them. Well, how can I get this back early? Well, a couple $100 extra could move you right up the list.
Yeah.
But all right, well, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate everybody. There was a couple people chatting in, saying hey and stuff like that, and dropping in and out. But and just you can share this out in just a little bit. It'll be up under the live categories there. But
Okay.
I appreciate you coming on, and be safe this year. Don't definitely get no car wrecks or any of that craziness.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for
I want to hear some cool duck stories. Not well, we had a wreck and they lost my gun, and
Yeah,
definitely next year. This time next year, we'll talk and see what kind of adventures you went on there.
awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me. I always love talking about ducks and whatever with like-minded people. So
Yeah, that's what they say. Like-minded people gather together.
yeah.
So this must be the like-minded poor gathering right here, because we gather together.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, good luck on that Texas hunt. I'm definitely going to be watching. I want some videos on that decoy that he's made. So that's gonna be interesting. I want to see how that hunt goes.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I hear a lot of times they talk about them cranes. You got to be on the spot, and if they dedicated, and
Yep, it's I've heard a lot of things like that. So
I just hope maybe because they say them birds are pretty aggressive even when you cripple them, that they just come up fighting. So if you shoot one and you cripple it, let your buddy record it, and I want to see the fight that goes on with that crane and you, and
yeah, I'll make sure we get on video.
Don't let it whoop your butt. So I mean,
I'll have to wear the goggles like the dogs. Make sure
that's what they do. Them dogs wear the goggles because they literally whoop their butt.
Yeah, they go right for the eyes with their bills. It's dangerous. I've seen videos of them doing that. It's crazy.
Which, I mean, if you were out there fighting for the end of your life too, you probably go for the eyeballs too. I mean, but yeah, I mean,
can't blame them.
No, you can't blame them. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everybody joining in. This will be out on the podcast probably next month. The live will be live as soon as I finish it's live now, but it'll be where you can rewatch it in just a few minutes. But I appreciate it. Go check out the sponsors scrolling down there at the bottom, and I'll see y'all next time. See ya.